Okay, folks, happy Monday. There's something you never hear. You may not like Monday, but you're better off now than at the beginning of the day. So, we started working on some Brits yesterday. And really? And I think they turned out pretty well. Obviously, there's still a lot left to do, but I'm probably going to punt on them for the time being. I got something coming in the mail to spruce these guys up. I don't want to do it afterwards, so we're going to stop. Well, we got decals coming, so we got decals for these coming, and I might have splurged on something else. Because I think my first scenario I'm going to do is one that's based in the book, in the actual rules, and it's so we already got the Panthers for that. Yay, a live session! We already got the Panthers for that. We just have to get the Shermans, the British Shermans for that. And we're going to cast some stuff, and I've got a little bit of did I not paint this? Well, if there's paint on there, it sure isn't very heavy. Well, I've got a reveal to do. Okay? Marcus, you ready for this? We're going to reveal how my mantlet came out. Okay? I don't even remember when the hell I did this. Was it Sunday night? Saturday night? I don't know. See, I told you I was a World War II guy. Look, I got coffee cups with World War II submachine guns on it. It ain't no Roman Eagles or something like that. Old Matchbox kit really brings me back. Currently working on a squad of Matchbox Japanese. The only Matchbox guys I got, and they were a hand-me-down from somebody, was Matchbox Africa Corps. And they're not bad figures. They're really not. They're really not bad figures. So, I honestly, when I hear Airfix and I hear Matchbox, I put them in the same category. Not the figures. The figures are very different from each other, but the model kits are very. I put them in the same category. Although I didn't have any Matchbox models at all. None. None, as in a convent. And okay, so we're going to do a gender reveal here on the mantlet of the Sherman, and see how it turned out. I'm going to put on the super readers. It's still going to be a little springy, I have a feeling, even though it's plenty cured. Like this extra green stuff that's around these tracks, see, it's still elastic-like. So we'll see how this does. There it is. So we're going to take the one from the other Sherman and compare what we need to cut off the stuff off, and get it ready for assembling the other Sherman. So we're going to come in here really carefully. I'm just surprised that the paint didn't come off of this thing when I put it in this really hot material. And then is the top flat? It sure looks like it. This is a great material to work with. I just figured it would be hard. I wouldn't think it would have some elasticity to it. Obviously, we're going to have to drill it and put a machine gun in there. Now, because you can't see shit in this video, Airfix was an NPC for me. The only other kit I had available as a kid was Rocco. That's right. You spelled it correctly. It's 1C. It's 1C. I remember looking at that fold-out Rocco catalog. You know what I'm talking about? It'd fold out like this, and I was like freaking 13 years old, and I'd be like, oh man, that looks cool. Oh, I want to get one of those. And some Rocco things were great, and some Rocco things were not so great. Their Sherman wasn't bad. But their Panther was like a dog, It is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Why'd I have to wait till I was 53, almost 53 fucking years old to come up with this shit? This stuff is great. This is great. Amazing, amazing stuff. So I found a deal on some M4A4s. I found a deal on some M4A4s. This guy was selling them for under $30 and like $3 shipping. So they're coming. I'll get them after the convention. So what I plan on doing is, this is a Firefly. This is the Matchbox Firefly. This is a Britannia Firefly that I painted with the supposedly correct Humbrol paint. Bullshit. I like the color of it, but I'm going to repaint it to this one. So they both look the same. And this is an M4A4 from Frontline, which is a piece of crap, but I'm going to use it. I have it. I'm going to use it. And then the other three, we're going to make them all M4A4s. So from Plastic Soldier Company. We don't need any more Fireflies. 2 to 4 is about the right proportion anyways. Really 1 to 3. And we're going to cast, I almost, you're 54 tomorrow? All right. Well, happy birthday. I miss celebrating Hitler's birthday? It was on Saturday. I miss it every year. I don't smoke pot on that day either. I don't celebrate either of those two things. Anyhow, I didn't find out it was until I looked on my feed today. It was like, 4 people in Germany were arrested because they were celebrating it or whatever. Like, they must not have come across a history book ever and didn't know anything about that dirtbag. But anyhow, what the hell was I saying? I came really close to ordering the extra add-on armor shit and then cast a bunch of extra things. And I'm like, no, what I really want is the extra track. And the Plastic Soldier Company stuff's going to come with extra track, and we'll cast a bunch of that stuff like Panthers, and we're going to wrap one of these. We're going to wrap one of these things in like a bunch of freaking tracks and stuff like that, and that's why I'm going to stop working on them. Not because I dislike how they turned out. As a matter of fact, this thing looks incredible. There's parts of this that look really rough, and there's parts of this casting that look really good. All these tools are excellent. Just excellent. And I don't know what's going on here on the engine deck, but something's messed up. It doesn't look right. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some crap there. I might even do one of those gauze camouflage. How's it going? Came in at a good time. Something about the Mustache Man's birthday. Yeah, he's upset because you didn't get him anything. Yeah, this is incredible. This is incredible. Incredible stuff. So, um, yeah, so we got some M4A4s coming. I got decals for these things. I found out what unit I was going to make them. It's not what unit I would have made it. It's an independent tank brigade, the eighth tank brigade. I don't know. Like I said, if I want to paint more of them, I want some Canadian tanks. I just think the freaking jokes will just write themselves. Maybe we'll do the Canadians in Italy. So, but the reason I painted these this way is there's a scenario. I was just flipping through my face of battle. There's a scenario that uses these particular, and you can tell it's specifically for this set of rules because it's only 4 turns long. I'm gonna go ahead and trim these extra Panther tracks. Yeah, this is incredible stuff. Between this and the hand sanitizer, you know, it's like, where have I been? One day closer to May 3rd. I'll try not to get too excited. I'm generally a poor reviewer of movies. It takes a lot to impress me of a movie. All right, I need to open this thing up so we can put the barrel through here. All right, so I'm going to use an extremely small hole just to be safe. Okay, and then I'm going to come in from the back side. And I got something else to show you guys too. It just came in the mail today. Hey, it's all inexpensive shit. Let's open this up a little bit, but be very gentle. This is actually more complicated than you might think. This is not my first rodeo, though. All right, I want to stack this on top of something that'll give. Will a cork work? Probably. A cork is probably just fine for this. So we're going to get one of these that's big enough for this. That's too big. You just got the first coat of mummified grime on your Godzilla, and the stuff smelled pretty bad. Ugh. What's May 3rd? The day Godzilla comes out. Oh, you were about to ask? Yeah, you're the one that told me. Be really upset if you get the date wrong. All right, we're ready to watch it. Oh, it's not me. It's like the other day I was like, all right. You know, I sat down over the weekend. I'm like, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to play some Diablo. The new season's out. And I thought it ended on tax day. Nope. It's May 15th. I'm like, well, fuck that. Well, I guess we'll have to wait. Didn't like this last one. Season of the Construct. Lame. I ended up creating a sorcerer. It looks like a limp dick gamer. Somebody you wouldn't want around your kids. This actually might be all right. Whoa. Don't even need to mount it to the pin vise. Yep, that's good. This is crazy. Now, let's see what kind of a fit we get on this. Now, it is a little thicker than the original one. I mean, just a tad. Just a smidge. And I could thin it. But in doing so, I could screw it up. Let's try it anyways. Glad you looked it up. It's only Amazon Prime Japan. Mother! Well, I think it's available to rent. I'm just going to rent it. I just don't want to see stuff at the theater anymore. It's too expensive. You know, you end up having to control how much you drink. I don't mean alcohol. I mean, you know, like liquids, so you don't have to like pee in the middle of it. And or, you know, be uncomfortable. This material is so forgiving. Yep, 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 yep. No, it doesn't sit as flush as this one. And that might be because this one it's more indented, but I think I think it's going to be good enough. I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to risk it. So this is the only thing I go to the theater for. Popcorn and drink is $18. Yeah, popcorn's no. We can make better popcorn at home. Popcorn used to be better when you were a kid, and that's just. We got this stuff that we bought at the grocery store, and it's popcorn, and it's like diet popcorn, like supposed to be better for you, and that shit's amazing. And there's a problem with it. It's just like you can't stop eating it. And it comes in like a lavender bag. What's up there? Well, how's it hanging in California, Stan? Um, yeah, we just took pictures of this gun mantlet that we just cast. Oh, pretty freaking awesome. Um, this stuff right here. If I tell you about this and you get addicted, it's not my freaking fault. Okay? This shit right here. Boom Chicka Pop. It is superb. It is really superb. Of course, in New York, it probably costs about $17 for a bag, but only 70 calories for one cup. One cup. And unfortunately, it's, you can eat the whole bag in one sitting. But, I've eaten a whole half-gallon ice cream in one sitting. It was a long time ago. Now I would just, have a massive headache if that happened. Okay. Well, that sucked. Oh, I see what's happening here. All right. Let's do it again. All right, so that's mission accomplished on that. That was cool. So we're gonna have this thing wait in the wings when we do the Americans again. We got a couple of mortar half tracks to do for them. What else? A Sherman, and another 76 millimeter arm Sherman for the Americans, which is fine. I just need more 75s. The proportion's all off. What else do we have for them? They're primed. I need to glue the front of that mallet there at some point. Yeah, a couple of mortar half tracks and the dinky matchbox. This thing is heavy as hell. This is probably the heaviest vehicle I have, or one of them. This is all die cast one piece. M4A3 76 millimeter gun tank. So, yeah, this thing's solid die cast. And two of these mortar half tracks. They're also pre-paints. Now they've been primed. Used to be in this big caca brown color. And that's all the Americans I have. Well, they're all painted up to that point. So, okay. So, since we can't really finish the Fireflies because the decals aren't here, what can we do? Well, the Bloody King Tigers for one. These ugly ass things. So, we're going to give them a light dusting of the late war Dunkelgelb. You've seen that around, I think. Oh, that stuff is freaking addictive. It's not very sweet either. And it's not very salty either. I'm telling you, the balance is like spot on. Like, it's like dangerous. Let me check in with somebody that I think they're back in. Just a moment. So yeah, I think that that's probably going to be the easiest thing for me to do is to build the stuff for that scenario. Get off my ass and freaking get a game going. And it's kind of like it's almost like a solitaire type game. That scenario is almost like a solitaire type game, and I have all the Panthers. That tells you how many. I remember 20 years ago when I first got the rules. I look at all these scenarios and I'm like, man, how am I going to get this many Panthers? To be honest with you, the only thing that I already owned about 3 of them. It was just grabbing stuff off the estate sale, and at least I'm putting it to good use or whatever. I don't really need to buy stuff off the dead, but they were just these family members that had any use for it, so. This is the only thing I don't like about this paint. It is watery as hell. But we just want to focus on getting the edges here. This is the color that's underneath. Just something like that. Joining buildings and painting for your Frostgrave Center. Is Frostgrave that scenario, that game that's made by the Little Wars? I think it's Raven's Feast. I think that's Raven's Feast. Frostgrave. I like the name of the town where the wall from Game of Thrones was. Oh, I got sent out to Frostgrave. So it sounds like something like that. I never heard of anybody watching the second season, the second episode, or whatever the hell it was, the follow-up. I'm sure there's lots of people that watched it, but there's probably a lot of people that are like, I'm not putting up with it. After that ending they pulled on us, we don't want to watch any more of that shit. Only reason I watched it because everybody was watching it. It gave you something to talk about, but. Well, that's a hell of a lot better. And this is why I wanted the color to be really bold. Because by the time you're done with it, you end up dulling it quite a bit. If you can tell the difference between these two here. Osprey prints the rules. Great, so it comes in a really nice book that I'd be afraid to use because it'd damage it. Not Hoff, but he'd have it all bent and shit in the corner. It'd be all crumpled up in it. Stuff like that, I gotta make a photocopy, and then and then you just kind of destroy the photo. You can't photocopy books. Yes, I can. I just can't give them to somebody. I mean, I'm not opposed to buying the rules. I just don't want to buy the rules and destroy the book in the process. Because I can't live with myself. It's funny. The pre-production turret, also known as the Porsche turret, I used to think wasn't as attractive. I think it's more attractive. Mainly because it has this little, the commander's area just kind of sticks out a little bit, juts out there. I don't know, just got more things to look at. And after this, we'll paint the tracks. And then we will figure out what kind of numbering was going to go on this vehicle. And then we will weather on top of the numbering. weather everything, including on top of the numbering. And then we'll black line or foreshadowing. Okay. And then we'll come over here and we'll do the same thing with the command one, or the one with the commander in it. The used bookstore I talk about going to in Jacksonville that I went last time, and I came back empty-handed. Almost every book there is. It may have been there a while and it's dusty, but almost every book is in pristine condition. It's not like somebody went and abused the book and then sold it to them, because they probably wouldn't give them anything for it if that was the case. Or maybe they don't want old ratty books. And I was looking on the internet last night, I think, or maybe it was the night before, and I came across a set of rules called that I never heard anybody talk about, and I guess they're relatively new, made by Gripping Beast, called Sword Point. And I'm like, man, when did these come out? Not that I'm interested in playing anything other than World War II stuff, but Can you believe I'm a World War II guy now? It's like, all you do is ancients. Well, I didn't used to. I'm a World War II guy. I just did some time in ancients. Yeah, there we go. Let's settle that a little bit. $100 Three Kingdom book. $100. Are any of the Three Kingdoms miniseries worth watching? I know, because there's several of them. Are any of them worth watching, or are they just a waste of time? I didn't know anything about the Three Kingdoms until about 1991 or 1992. I had a friend of mine who had a Nintendo, whatever the original one was. I never had one of those. I like violent video games. Not they don't have to be extreme violent video games, but they can't be, I want to race a make-believe go-kart that looks like a dragon. F that. Not for me. And he had this Romance of the Three Kingdoms game, and it was like playing with little counters. It was like on a little hex, and it was crappy graphics because it was the old Nintendo system. And I played some of it, and I found out who's this Cow guy. Oh, you mean Cao Cao? I said, well, why is it spelled Cow? And the rest of it's history. But I had a pretty good footing on that, and then the next thing you know, I rented that Dynasty Warriors one time when I had the original Xbox, and I have a couple of those games, and I played them enough. I kind of know who the characters are. I know who they are in the unrealistic looking thing. If you try to play a realistic looking game, I tried playing that Total War Three Kingdoms. Man, it's too complicated. It's too complicated. I don't have time for that. I don't want to have time for that. Frozen City of Felstad 10 warband characters with wizard and apprentice looking for treasures and fighting monsters. Great campaign system. What about pushing hexagons around a table with a syringe and using that as the total amount you get to move everything? Is that insane? What's the syringe filled with? I don't care for most Three Kingdoms series stuff, just weird Chinese propaganda. Warhammer Total War might be easier, honestly. I just don't care for the Warhammer fluff. I never got into it. I played Rome Total War quite a bit, including a couple of mods for it. I played the Medieval 2 quite a bit. But it just gets to be like it's the same. The battles, like, they aren't even worth playing anymore. You form a line. If the guy outnumbers you, make your line stronger, and you got to move mobile elements. And when they engage your line, hit them in the rear, and then, watch them break, and then chase them down. That's how every battle is. And it's just, it just gets old. And you play the Rome Total War, you're like, the Egyptians look like Middle Kingdom Egyptians. I'm like, no, I can't play this, I can't play this game. And then you find one of the other mods or whatever. Rome Total Realism, and what was the other one? Europa Barbarorum. But at the end of the day, I play those kind of things to motivate me to paint this stuff. Miniatures. Okay, so that's done. So let's paint. We're probably going to have to do some scratches or something like that. So let's go ahead and rinse this guy. Total War battles feel way too samey. Yeah. I play Beyond All Reason Warhammer. Was fun to fuck around with for a while. I think Warhammer would be fine if you played with the right people and you didn't play in a tournament setting. But that kind of goes without saying. You play with the wrong people, they'll ruin a game. Like people that stink. Actually, we were in the grocery store yesterday, and this guy walks by. Wasn't even a gamer. Maybe he was a gamer. I don't think he was a gamer. I just think he was an inbred person that's never taken a shower before. And he smelled like he hadn't showered like in a month or changed his clothes in the same amount of time. It was like beyond BO. It was almost like, so. Stink, stank, stunk. He's got the funk. First thing I want to do when I get home from work is shower and change clothes. Your favorite part of any Total War game is the first 0 to 40 turns before you turn an unstoppable juggernaut. Yeah, the turns just take too long. The medieval one, I just started playing Spain, and once the world became Spain, I'm just like, I don't want to play somebody else. It's just a rinse and repeat thing. You keep like your light cavalry away and use your light cavalry to like eat at people while they're running away and they're already broken, so they don't take any casualties. Because the problem is if they take casualties, you have to replace them. And the problem with replacing them is then they dilute the experience, right? Like if you got a unit that's strength of 100 and it goes down to 50, and it might be really experienced, it's only 50, and you get new recruits to bring back up the strength that dilutes their experience. And then, you turn into a freaking juggernaut because those light horse or something like that, then they can go on and you throw javelins at people and, they hit every time. So there's always hokey ways to get around shit like that. But what happens is any game that's turn-based, I find like it puts me to sleep. And it can be too easy. You can outthink the computer in a turn-based game. If it's real time, it's just a matter of, okay, can I survive long enough to beat this computer without going crazy? Run around from one place to the other, putting out fires. And that's like, yeah, my real job is too much like that. I don't want to play that crap. So, almost not even paint the top of the tracks, but I will. I have not played Mountain Blade. Is it worth playing? I don't want. I want to play that one where, well, I saw the graphics and they didn't look very good, but I like the idea of that, whatever that one's called, where you play some guy in Bohemia, and you can go and challenge people to a duel. But anything gets old. You're like, yeah, this again. You know. A lot of people must not mind playing grinding. Or maybe they make games really grindy because so many games are like, well, if you pay me this much extra money, then you can skip this step, but I don't do shit like that. I don't spend extra money on stuff. Because what happens is you end up getting everything and then you're freaking bored of it. It's real fun. I've been playing World of Warships. And decided to put it on my computer over the weekend. Holy shit, it looks a lot better. It's still hokey, but you know what it is? It keeps me from going out and buying ships and painting ships. It's like, I want to play around with some ships. So it allows me to play some ships. I've painted ships before. I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. And it fulfills that. So, but what I was really disappointed is on the computer, there's so many more ships you can get along the way that aren't available on the console. But it's so much easier just to fire up the console, and the console runs so much smoother. You play old retro games. Buy some ships. Nope, ain't got time to buy ships. Been there, done that. Slippery slope. It allows me to play around with it and stuff. But so many games are like pay to win. And the problem with that is you have this menu then that if you have no intentions of ever spending any money on it, then you've got to like squint your brain to see exactly what it is that you can or can't do. It gets a little complicated because sometimes there's so much noise, there's so much traffic as far as like, hey, buy doubloons, or for this many doubloons converted into something else. I'm like, all right, no, that's something that costs money. I don't want to do that. Because those games like that, Roll the Tanks, it doesn't make any sense to spend money. Because if you spend money, you get a better vehicle, but you have to face better vehicles. So what's the point? What's the point in, buying a King Tiger? Because you end up, as soon as you buy a King Tiger, you got to face like, M103s or something like that. You got to face something that's like, can dwarf you. So it must work on some people. It doesn't work on me. It must be like rich kids with their daddy's credit card or something. Or Gamblers. It definitely feeds in a gambling mentality. There's a couple things. You spend real money, you can get one of these chests that you don't know what's in it, and but you could get a really cool ship or a commander or something like that. And they want you to part with real money for, have a something that's might not be available always. They'll reformat the game, and guess what? You get to keep. You don't have anything to show for it. Like, that's just not my personality. Rich kids and gamblers, yeah. I was not a rich kid. And we'd all like to be rich kids, but there's a bad thing about that, man. If you don't get a really good job, you've got kind of like this lifestyle that you're used to that's normal for you, and it's not normal for the rest of us. Like, man, you better get a good paying job and be working, or you're gonna feel like you're severely disenfranchised when you live, in a run in the mill place like most of us. You develop bad habits. I have a friend with a gambling problem, and these games get 300 to 3K from him on any given month. $3,000 a month? Holy shit. I don't gamble. I don't. You've seen me play. I hate taking risks. And it's not even with money. Hedge all your bets. Yeah. I go on lots of cruises. I've never gambled once. Like, the minimum bets are too high. I mean, I would play with money. I'd play, if I could play poker on a cruise ship for $200, right? But I want to play for 8 hours. I don't even mind losing. I'm not gonna win. Okay, cool. But how long is it? $200 might be 3 hands or less. Like, no, that just doesn't make any sense. Different people are addicted to different stuff. Just like people that are addicted to alcohol. Not me. I could live without it. Even though I become a better person when I drink. But still, you know. Okay. We got that. There's no spare tracks here, but there are on the turret, these little things that we painted, that we made out of green stuff. So we're going to go ahead and paint them. Game should be about escaping, not bringing in real world currency. Yep. Yep. Should be about whatever it is that you do in real life, forget about that. That's why I like playing violent video games, because I'm a pacifist every day. So I don't mind playing games where I have to run over a bunch of kids at the school bus stop, because I'm not going to do that in real life, you know? I've never played any of those kind of games. You can't even do that in Grand Theft Auto. Okay, there's that set of tracks. I did end up playing the world's oldest game, or one of them, the game of Ur. That sounds like something you're doubled over. Ur, what are you playing? Ur, you know. I'll be right back. doubled over game. I'd rather go to work than play chess. Let's hit the edges here. And of course, this is all going to be dry brushed on top, so. It'll all blend together. I don't know how many days this week I'm going to be able to do this. So I figured I'd get on and do this. Every day this week should be more and more difficult for me. I will not be working on Friday. I will be taking Friday off to go to the show. So there won't be any shows on the weekend unless I do one on Sunday when I get back. So for those of you who are weekend watchers, it's going to be kind of empty-handed this weekend coming up, because I'll be at our biannual convention in Orlando. Where I'm signed up to play one game. The rest of it I'm just going to wing. I'm signed up to play a game of Pig Wars. And the reason I'm playing that game is the GM that always runs those always puts on a good game. And I missed the sign up. He actually was running 2 games. I can only get into one. I think one of them is like Friday night. The other one is like Saturday night. Saturday morning. He probably has the same table, so he doesn't have to move it and stuff. I need some family members that would stay up all night playing chess. It's boring to me. I lose interest and throw the game. There's some alternate version of chess I find interesting. It's called Peasant Uprising. One side controls all like 20 pawns, while the other side controls the knights. It uses the kind of thinking that doesn't come natural to me. So. And I think it's really hard. I would think it's really hard to find a good game against somebody, because it's a high probability that the person you're playing is a lot better than you or a pushover. And I don't want to play a game with a pushover, and I certainly don't want to play a game that I can't win. So Pig Wars is a fun game. It is. This guy runs a fun game because he basically gives you a character to play. So it's almost kind of like a role-playing game. In a way. Or you're a leader, you role-play your leader kind of thing. But this particular person, I always try to get into their games because they put on a good game. They have the right personality for somebody running it. This guy used to have he's a retired assistant principal of a middle school. Talk about a sadist to have that job. But he said he had a little game club with his. I don't like kids of middle school age, period. So that would be a bad sell for me, but he's been retired a number of years now, and now puts on these shows at conventions. Or always did, actually, in between them. But it's like, man, wish I would have had somebody cool like that when I was in middle school, instead of the hell that it was. was like a prison sentence without the tattoos with the clothes hanger. Been trying to add role playing to DBA for a while now. Yeah, I can see where it would work. Well, a couple of those scenarios that people sent in, I mean, it certainly made them more interesting. Okay. This one is complete. And remember, this vehicle had none of these little tracks and prongs and stuff on there on the outside. And it's just totally, it's bad enough that you don't have anything back here either. But you can't have a barren turret. You can't find any photos of that. So let's go ahead and paint the tracks first. And then we'll get to see what kind of numbers we're going to put on it. Unfortunately, a lot of the decals that are out there that are available for commercial use are made by a company called Peddinghaus. Double D, Peddinghaus. And they're German. You think, oh, they're going to be really accurate. Well, they suck because they're super thick and they don't come, well, I don't know if all of their decals are that way, but I bought some US stars and the entire sheet was one sheet. So imagine it's like, okay, like you've got all these decals on this sheet and the sheet is, this big, right? And you have all the decals. The entire sheet is one decal. So if you cut out the star and you say, well, let me just cut a square around it and pull the thing off, you can't. Your whole decal will be square. So you got to cut really close to the decal and they're really thick and ain't nobody got time for that. You've never been to a wargaming convention before. What? Get out of this city. I remember watching your games with Mitch and you had 2 to 4 other people there. I've always wanted to add role-playing roles for players who aren't controlling armies so everyone can play. Well, the problem with a lot of those games is that we'd go to play and wouldn't know who the hell would show up. So we're like, okay, who's coming? Well, we haven't heard from Paul and we haven't heard from this guy, so it's just you and me. All right, so what do you want to do? Well, let's do this, or what do you think? Yeah, that'll be good to film it. And we start filming it, and somebody shows up we didn't know was coming. And I'm like, that's really difficult to try to figure out what we're going to do if we can't even plan that far. So, especially when I have a planning type job and stuff goes sideways in my job also. Like, I'm not willing to have things go sideways in my personal life also. That's just, demoralizing. And, I don't want people sitting around waiting. But, dude, just fucking tell us the day before you're coming, That's it. So that was a minor point of why I don't do the games anymore. Definitely not the major point. But I'm not gaming anything, otherwise I'd be filming that. The gaming shouldn't be creating more work for myself. It's like I have this saying, it said, if you're somebody's customer, they shouldn't be creating more work for you. They should be solving your problems. Right? If you have a customer, you shouldn't be causing more work for your customer. I really like tabletop RPGs, but man, I hate trying to coordinate shit. Yeah. Yeah, it's just common courtesy. I don't do shit like that. I have different faults. I mean, if you can't if you can't make it because of an emergency, we're all gonna have emergencies. But you can't always keep having a freaking emergency because then you turn into a wolf crier and nobody's gonna believe you. Wolf, wolf, wolf. Where? Oh, there's not really a wolf there. Okay, and you do it every time. Pretty soon you're gonna be eaten by the wolf. There's a saying in Spanish that somebody is a Capitán Araña. And what it means is literally is a spider captain. And I don't think that it actually means that. It's that probably that was some guy way back when. But the legend is basically that's somebody who, like, for example, gets everybody you get some local people all fired up to say maybe go on a cruise, right? Like, hey man, I know you've never been on a cruise, but man, cruises are great. Let's do it, man. Let's do it on May 5th or whatever. You know what? We'll all go together and we'll all get. And the time goes for the cruise. Everybody shows up except the instigator. That guy is a Capitán Araña. He basically bails, and that's a pretty big fault. Where none of us are perfect, but what faults can you deal with people? You know. I had so many people. I don't know if you've seen my videos. I'm not afraid of telling you all the plans to get you to play better. And it's a self-serving reason because I want to be challenged more. So when I play people that are, in another area, I'm not like overthinking and I've never seen this situation. No, I want somebody to give me a good run for the money when it doesn't really matter. But anyhow, a lot of people aren't that way. They'll be like, I don't want to tell you anything because I want to chalk this one up as a win. Well, if you're learning how to play a game, you don't want somebody that doesn't feel like they're not going to have a chance to win. Or at least have some say in the outcome, right? So I couldn't tell you how many times I'd be like, hey, Tony, I noticed you're in Florida. Do you go to the conventions? Yeah, we put on DBA stuff at all the conventions. Oh, cool, man. Where is it? It's in this place. Oh, yeah, that's all right. I'll try to make it. And then they wouldn't make it. And they'd live in fucking Orlando. They'd live in the same freaking town that the convention's in, and they were so excited about playing in it, and they didn't have the huevos to show up once. And I'm like, I'm willing to show you everything. You just got to show up, man. And you just end up getting discouraged with shit like that. You also end up getting discouraged. Like this week would be hell for me if I was still doing DBA stuff. I'd probably have to finish an army, do awards, print all this stuff up, run around, and people can't even tell you whether or not they're going to be at the show, or any more people show up or come up with excuses like, I couldn't make it. I don't know when it is. And it's like, why am I putting all this effort and other people aren't willing to do any of the effort? So somebody else wanted to take it over. Go right ahead. Like, yeah, I'll take it over. So have you been playing DBA? Yeah, we've been playing DBA for 15 fucking years since the last time we saw you. Oh. Well, what's the turnout like? I said, haven't you seen all the millions of posts? Oh, I don't use Facebook. Okay, well, do you go on Fanaticus? I don't use Fanaticus. I said, you want to promote a game and you want to do all these extra tournaments and stuff that we weren't doing. We were putting on, because we basically extended the DBA events from 1 or 2 events a convention to games in every fucking session, right? We did all that. We promoted it on multiple websites, made videos on how to play the rules, and we can't get more than like a dozen players. But somehow you think that this person didn't even know that we had DBA 3.0 videos out there. That was like the last straw. I'm like, fuck it, take off and run with it. I want out, which is good because I probably couldn't do it with my workload right now. Anyways, I got too much workload. I'm looking forward to just hanging out with folks and having a beer or whiskey or something like that. And if I play something in between, that's cool, and not be rushed, and not picking up shit, not taking things to the car and moving it 50 times. Like, somebody else can do that. Somebody else that's retired, doesn't have enough workload, can do that shit. Yeah, you wanted to take things over. You wanted to like grow the game. Like, people, we went to Historicon. Nobody wanted to fucking play. That's fine. It's a free country, but I'm not going to be held hostage. You know. This isn't hard anybody like. Yeah, well, you know, here's one thing I can say. I don't know that I could have done. I don't know that I could have done more. You know, and it's not like I gave up after one time. We ran it for 18 fucking years. Well, I didn't run it for 18 years, but the last 15, 14. Have fun with it. And I don't have anything bad to say about any of those people, you know. I'll still hang out with them. We still go out to dinner. I'll even sit and watch DVA, you know, a couple people play DVA, but I'm not going to play it. You're not going to ask me questions about what the rules are. I'm done with being tortured by that abstract system, as good as it is. So I'm not going to go play Art de la Guerre, you know. Another abstract fucking system with even more figures. Oh, everybody's playing that now. Oh, you mean the stolen rules, that they stole Phil Barker's work? Nah, that doesn't do it. And I don't have the energy to come up with my own rules, my own DVA, which is what I really wanted to do, but for free. It wasn't gonna charge anybody, you know. Nah, we're gonna double down on this shit. We want a fun narrative to laugh about. So I will probably never run. Probably no. I definitely will never run a game at a convention again. Making your own rules is a pain. Having to follow rules that you don't want to put up with. I've used this analogy before. Say you're a middle manager. I am. And, you know, people above you put this policy in place that you don't agree with. But somehow you have to enforce it. You know, so you're like, hey, you need to do this. Well, why do we have to do that? I don't know. It's not a fuck, but that's what we got to do. I don't want to use those kind of excuses in a game because they don't make any sense to me. Because I see the point, you know. I'm like, I agree, like, you know. So, it's all good. I'm not taking my DVA videos down. We tried to do the best we could, and sometimes we got shit wrong. And whatever, you know. I haven't actually checked to see if somebody else has made DVA videos. Probably not. I like doing them. And there's just too much cool stuff that actually happens in a game to not share it with other people. But you run at a convention, you got to worry about your stuff walking off. You got to worry about somebody signing up who runs. Did I say you're going? No. I said I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to. Why would I do that? You know? No. It's not like I hate the game or anything. You know? It's just I'm ready to move on. And besides, even if I didn't want to do all that stuff, I said I wasn't going to play it anymore. And unlike most people, I'm a man of my word. Now, I have done stuff that I said I wasn't going to, but I don't remember that. But that's pretty obvious to say, well, how come you're playing this game? You never said you were going to. I'm like, nope, can't catch me on that one. I catch other people on shit like that. I had this one driver that came to me. We had this big job that was a pain in the butt that he had to wait a long time to get loaded. I said, that's it. I ain't coming back here. And the following Monday, he was back. I said, how come you're back? How come you're back? I remember you said you weren't going to be here. Well, I ain't going to come with excuses. Be a person of your word. Don't let your mouth write checks your ass can't cash. Oh. Not my fault. Not one of my faults. I have different ones. I try not to say I'm never going to do something. I always forget I said it. Well, it'd be pretty hard for me to forget that I said, I thought you weren't going to play DBA. I mean, like, it's pretty fucking obvious. Like, you know. Yeah, and I stuck around with it so long. It's like, man, I don't want to spend tens of thousands of hours painting these figures and then not be able to use them. And now, like, those effing figures, which I love, don't get me wrong, they're keeping me from doing other stuff. I'm like, well, you will keep me from doing it no more. You know, it's like what I talked about it. You know, if I go to the convention and I'm just going to go there. What are you going to play? We'll just see what happens. The outcome always works out, right? It's always fine. It is what it is, right? But if you put all this extra work and doing this and doing the other thing and we're making awards and hopefully this happens and then people don't reciprocate, you're disappointed. You know, just like if I make a video about whatever I want to make it, I made it because I wanted to make it. If I take somebody's suggestion, I'm like, all right, well, I don't really want to do this, but people want to see this. And then people don't watch it. I'm pissed. So it's better not to be pissed. You know? Do what you want to do. Be who you are. If people like it, that's cool. They'll tune in. If they don't, well, you know, that's too bad. You know? $18 is a long time, man. It felt like 4. Yeah, there'll be World War II. If I get around playing, I don't want to game this and not film it. That'd be stupid. That's a waste, you know. But I've got to figure out how to do it on my own, so that I can explain it to somebody. You know, the game that comes close, that has any kind of popularity out of there, is Chain of Command. You know, I could probably do, if this game didn't exist, if Face of Battle didn't exist, I could probably do Chain of Command and tweak it. Chain of Command with more detail. Because Chain of Command has some interesting mechanisms, but you still have a little bit too much personal choice. This whole, like, you know, you shoot at these guys, knock 2 guys out. Well, which ones? Whatever you want. No, doesn't work that way. That's a big Debbie Downer for me. You know, that's too controllable. You know, well, it's alternating bounds. All right. What is it? Well, you pick a guy to move, and the other guy. Wait, I can pick a guy. I can pick whichever guy I want at this moment. Yes, I don't want that. It's too much control. There's not enough chaos. I got the rules for this, and I've not played with the vehicles. I've read the vehicle rules. I haven't played the vehicles. And the other day, I started reading the vehicle rules and a couple of play examples, and there's there's some stuff that could happen. But I think I probably need to play the scenarios that come with the rule set because of turn length. Like there's only 4 turns. You know, because remember, a turn is every person. If we're talking about average soldiers, every soldier gets to act twice. Okay, so if it's 4 turns, you basically have. I can't do math this late. What is it? 8 actions. That doesn't sound like a lot, but there's 10 vehicle movement impulses. There's 10 movement vehicle impulses per turn. So I gotta wait for this to dry anyway. So here's my excuse to look at one of the sheets here. Let's see if we can find a sheet on a vehicle that we're familiar with. They have some pre-made sheets, and of course there's the data. A Panther, perfect example. We built a few of those, right? So on this sheet, and I plan on putting this on computer, so that this is just a generic sheet, so you don't have to have these extra boxes. When there's information and there's nothing in them, it really confuses things. You could just keep things a lot simpler. You know, and I actually want to redo it, so I want to get a line drawing and put like a Panther, like Patton's Best does that. An overhead view of the Panther. And then you can have little squares where the guys go. And I'll take it slow, one thing at a time. But, you know, here's your speed, your main armament, if it's knocked out or whatever. Damage to, you know, structure, vision, cupola, all that kind of stuff. Type, weight, size, maximum speed. You know, all the kind of stuff, you know, that kind of makes sense, you know. Turret front armor. The only thing I don't like about this is it doesn't give you like actual millimeters. So like turret front 61, turret side 29. Like what does that translate into? Is that 40 millimeters? You know, I have a feeling that number is that way because it is a number that comes off the percentile. So instead of having, you know, if your armor is 40 millimeters, it's this to the roll. It's built into the roll. I bet that's why. But basically, maximum speed is 8. What does that mean? It can move 8 inches. If you put the throttle on the Panther, it can go move 8 inches per movement phase. So every turn, it could move. If you were just flooring it and you started going maximum speed, it could go 8 inches of movement and impulse phase, and there's 10 impulse phases. So yes, it could move 80 inches down the road. That's a lot. But you're not going to hit anybody at 80, and you probably stand a higher chance of getting hit, and you don't start the game flooring it, you know. So, you know, every impulse you can like change things. You know, you basically can adjust your speed, and then you move with whatever speed you're set at. So I have a feeling most vehicles are going to be either not moving 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4. 4 is probably pretty extreme. You're still moving 40 inches and shit like that. So, did you ever, let's, oh man, I put the wrong chat is on here. Damn it, should be on live chat. There we go. Did you ever try any of the Little Wars TV games? I did not. I saw a copy of their Hannibal rule set. I think it's called Hannibal. And flipped through it at Historicon. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And there was a lot of things that were still like the issues I had with DBA about perfect conforming. I'm like, I'm not playing a game where you have to perfectly conform again. That's just an abstractism that's just difficult to kind of wrap your head around. Okay, I will be back in a moment, and then we'll be back and we'll look at some decals that I have to put some possible numbers on these. No, we're actually not going to do that. We're actually going to go ahead and, because this takes some time for this to dry, we're going to go ahead and wet the parts where a decal could possibly go. So we don't have to wait for that. Okay? Because unlike painting my 15 millimeter figures, which unless it's the last step where I'm sealing them, I can pretty much do them whatever friggin' order I want to. So the side of the turret here, this whole area, we could have something there. Okay. Likewise on the other side there. Okay. Likewise on here, here, and there. That's the only parts of on a tiger, on a king tiger, that would potentially get turret that would get any markings on it. Nothing on the top, nothing on the front of the turret, none of that nonsense. Okay, on the side here, usually the national insignia is somewhere in this zone, so we'll leave a wet spot for that. And we'll leave a wet spot for this one too on the opposite side. There's really no symbols that come in this area. And inside, in case I get inspired and put a unit marking, I will have that area to do it. That's pretty much the only areas on here that need to be covered in slickness. So we'll do the same thing with this. And this system works really well. Instead of coating the entire model in a gloss coat and then waiting for it to dry and all that nonsense. Let's go all the way to the edge here. I don't know that I'm going to put a unit marking on it, but this turret. The back here as well. All right. Now, because that'll dry in like freaking 10 minutes or something like that. Now, actually, before I stop, I want to show you guys one thing. I'm not going to stop. I gotta take care of something. This came in the mail. I talked about getting this. I even ordered it while I was online with you guys. Tight. Green stuff. And this comes in two, it better come with a blue tube. 2 tubes. Is this, well, where's the covering for it? Doesn't have one? Well, we're going to get us a plastic bag and put these two in plastic. This one's covered in plastic. Is it? Maybe neither one of them is. We're going to cover them in plastic bags. Anyhow, this seems like a much better value than the other stuff. So, yeah, where's this stuff made? This product contains chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer, birth defects, or other reproductive harm. I'll make sure I don't cast my dick. Yeah, I don't know where the hell this shit's made. Probably you know where. Anyhow, this was like 20 bucks instead of, for a lot more material than the Army Painter stuff. So we got a lot of castings coming up ahead. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Is there instructions in here on how to use this thing? Not that I need them. No. Anyhow, I will be right back in a few. And that's what you came here for. Live unboxing. All right, I will be right back, folks. we're just going to use this Ziploc bag that's here. I wonder if it's a problem having them just touch each other. I better not do that, just to be careful. I don't want to have a chemical reaction there with problems. I guess I am going to have to get another Ziploc baggie. I'm going to make sure this stuff doesn't go bad before we even use it. That'd be silly. Okay, let's get all this air out. I don't need this thing to keep like 2 years. I just need to keep it for like 6 months. I think even less than that would probably be all right. Probably not going to run any issues. That's what you came here for. Oh, it would be nice if I put the freaking video on. Jesus, I need a producer. I don't know that I'm going to need this stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it in there. All right. So let's see what we got decal wise, and I'm willing to paint my own. I'm not scared. But I'm going to see if there's some decals here that I've overlooked that are basically useless for me for some of the earlier war stuff, which is what I normally do. This is outside my comfort zone. And let's see what we have here. Wow, these king tigers are drying over here. Whee! Okay. All right, we don't need this set, which has a bunch of... What's this for? This is one, the 251 from somebody or another. I don't want to use a 555 for that. Don't need a single 8. That's the Rodin decals. Don't need that. This 308 doesn't look bad. This 308 definitely has some potential. So I'm going to set this one off to the side. That red 308's not too bad. We don't need that. Nope. These are the ones for the Jagdpanzer. This is for the Jagdtiger. There's a 314. That one's not bad. Okay. Oh, these are old decals. Those aren't gonna work. They're not gonna work. Those aren't gonna work. One of those. $322, a 5. Okay, these are Hasegawa ones from the Panther. Those are a possibility. Same thing with these. Right, now we're getting someplace. Oh, these are those damn petting house ones. Oh, rat bastards. I might give them another shot. I don't know. All right, what's this? This is the Italeri one for the Hetzer. The 224 is just a little too diminutive. No, we're not going to use a 615 for this. Those aren't going to survive. Those are old decals. $111's not bad. We're going to need these. We'll use these for the Balkenkreuz. These are too small. These are too small. These are too small. These are massive. Which is, it's funny because these are 1/72nd. And if I can use big numbers on somebody, it would be this. Okay, we got more of these. What's in here? This is the S model. Look at the nice full color thing for the S model. Let's see. You get 2 Panzer IIs, and they come with like markings for like 6 of them. Freaking great. That's why I got them. I had a bunch of Panzer IIs that had no markings. It's more of those 615s, okay? And then this one also, all right? And here's some of the late war hollow white decals. All right. So, are these the super readers? They are not. Okay. Some of these that are white, for instance, I don't mind painting the center. Do we have white ones here? Okay, yeah. I don't mind painting the center in blue or one of those crazy colors. Like if you look at like late war stuff for the King Tigers, you will see that they have stuff like these blue ones. Well, that's pretty cool. You just use a white one and paint the center blue. These are all first. I don't want to commit to these having to be SS things. Actually, all of these are SS tanks. F those guys. So, let's see if this 308, does it have a border on it? I think it's just red. One of the things I want to do with this command one is something that I actually don't like. And that is, see if I can find an example of this. Sometimes they take look at this top one. This is tank 314, but they split the 3 and the 4. So that's Heavy Panzer Battalion 506. Okay, and these are supposedly black with a white outline. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this one. Oh, they have 2 different 3s. We're going to do that with that, and we're going to split it. We're going to put a cross in between them, in between the numbers. Okay, we're going to take a cross and we're going to put it in between the 2 numbers. I don't know what company we're going to do. The other one's going to have all 3 numbers right next to each other. Bam, 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 in the standard manner. Should I run the risk of putting some of these on here? Even trying them. I don't think so. Oh, here's 314. Wasn't this one of the numbers? I guess that's a popular number. Yeah, I'll put the 314 as it is there. And some of these tend to have the cross above the number, which is kind of unusual to have it up there. So, but I think that's what I'll do with that one. This one I'll put in the middle. I don't know if these decals will be worth a damn, but what's this 009? Hey, these are all SS units. Okay. We're going to keep this out. Put this away. Put this one away. Oh, I got SS markings there. Well, we're not going to do that. We don't want to commit to them being SS units. These ones that are big are just so freaking big. These numbers are so damn big. Okay, I think I got what I need to do. Just got lost on Facebook for a bit. Been a while since I got on. I miss all the wargaming stuff. No other social media has all the wargaming groups Facebook has. It's like the new Yahoo groups. I always hated Yahoo groups. The display didn't look good. It just wasn't. It wasn't very user friendly looking. No, Facebook's awesome. You know, just don't get involved in it. If you see somebody that's trouble, ban them. You don't have to see anything to repeat again. I had a friend of mine who he always had this like freaking Marxist that would just go after him all the time on everything. And I'm like, I don't want to see anything from this other guy. I've never even met this guy, but this guy would post so many things that I hope something happens to him. Like I don't need to get involved with people like that. So I don't even want to see any posts that guy even exists. He's dead to me. You know. We're gonna put some water in here, and this is where we're gonna put the decals. If I post something on a Facebook group and somebody wants to want to argue with me, I block the person. I don't know if they're breathing anymore. Like done. You know. I don't do this hobby for problems. You know. Done. I don't know if you're still alive. Facebook just gets weird when it started showing me animal abuse photos randomly. Really? What were you searching for, man? Okay. So, to mix things up, we're going to put the Balkan Kreuz on this one down here, and we're going to put the number up here. And on this one, it's going to be built into the number in the middle of it split. Okay? And if I don't like how it looks, I punt and take it off. You know? Not that big of a deal. So, let's find a brush that can be trusted with this. Say something like this one. Okay, and I think this was gonna be sharp enough. Let's take the 314. This cross may be a little too big though. That's from the Jagdtiger set. I used the other one instead. Those decals are pretty darn good. And then here, we're going to need a little one. That's going to go in the center of the turret. We need one for each side. So let's cut 2 out. These are Skytrex ones. Good. And put this away. Don't want to use wet hands on that. And then this one is going to be, there's a couple different numbers here. That's a standard looking number. Some of these have funky angles and stuff. And the King Tigers that I've seen all pretty much have, like the 5 is weird, but the 6 is kind of standard looking. Unfortunately, the 1 is also an issue. Let's switch this out because we're going to need, we need to be a little precise with this. Bunch of fake shit on. There's a bunch of fake shit everywhere. Now, I don't want to see fake shit. What's the point? What's the point? I don't want to see news that benefits me. I just want the freaking truth. I don't give a shit. Well, we got to be careful. Let's not cut ourselves. This is 3-1. What do you say this one was? 314. They don't have to be part of the same unit. Could be like 302 or something like that. It could be like it's the 1 I have a problem with. Normally I would pick the 1 as the last number. Oh, we're going to use the 2. I like the 3. The 3 and the 2 are the same style. Definitely. It's the 1 that just seems out of place. What is this one? 314? I could make it 312, but I really want it to be a different. I think I'm going to make it 321. I think I'm going to make it 321. Okay. We'll just drop all these in here. Okay. And we're going to do this one first. Where is... yeah, there it is. Well, nothing's worse than the Weather Channel. Weather Channel is just a shit show. Just a complete shit show. Bandwidth sucker. Where is... I'm looking for the tweezers that are really, really fine. Here they are. All right, let's grab 314. I like bringing it out here. It's easier to work with. Did we already put the vinegary smelling stuff here? There, all right. It almost looks too small, but not really. Just makes you think that way. And then let's go ahead and grab this cross. Make sure the cross isn't too big. This is the one that actually came with that same Yag Tiger. And let's see if it's too big for this spot. If so, then we'll just pick a different cross or something. So it's centered where the number is centered. Pretty happy with that. Now for the funky one. Oh, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. And it's a pretty big one. A mistake I made is those numbers are all in one long line. So I needed to cut them before if I wanted to switch the order. So can I live with 312? Now I don't really want it to be the same company because we're two different styles, but I think I can live with it. Yeah. I continue to make mistakes. I'm on a tear. Your next stream, I should be done with my Godzilla. Excellent. Who's next? Godzuki? Let's do the cross first. Aha. I'm going to do the cross first. I'm going to put it in the middle. And before we do the other side, realize that's not how we like it. Let's go ahead and put the 1 and the 2 over here. And now, before we realize we don't like it, let's move this one over and move the 3. I don't like that style one. And I almost feel like this cross should be here and that cross should be there. All right. Let's squint to see if. Let's just run with it. Let's just run with it. Equal spacing. It's up past the midpoint. There's a two-headed kaiju I want to paint up. Think Pen something is his name. Let's push this up past the center line a little bit. I think that looks a little better. Let's do the other side now. You two-headed kaiju. Two-headed kaiju. You said you were building a Japanese ship. Which ship were you building? Oh yeah, we're having to push this. Let's push this farther up. Okay, and then over here. Medical ship, okay. Meat. And if I don't like how this behaves, just take it off and do something else, you know? This one looks better than the other one. This one looks better than the other one. Why does it look better than the other one? The one's closer. And so's the 3. All right. If you like putting it together and painting it, I might buy some ships from -1. I don't think there's any Japanese. It's after the war, right? I think that's good. At least we're going to run with it. I think part of it that's bothering me is the model's pretty plain. It doesn't have any black lining, and it just looks like blah right now. And all that's going to be straightened out soon. This side's further in the center than this one is. Let's deal with that. That's better. 1946, there's a few that were on their way back or something like that. Man, the Japanese did not have very many ships that survived the war. The ones that did, they were trashed in a harbor. Like, here's a picture of so-and-so. She survived the war, but she's like trashed in Kure. That's how you say it, right? Not cure. Kure. Hooray for Kure. I plan on making these the best looking Pegasus Panthers Teen Tigers you've ever seen. It shouldn't be a tough goal to accomplish. Some of the ships were used in one of the nuclear bomb testings, I think. Let's see, what could have been used? Battleship wise, Yamato was sunk. Musashi was sunk. Nagato was at the Bikini Island. Nakado survived. Mutsu blew up in like sometime in 43 in port from a, you know, a whoopsie. No, the smoking lamp is off. Blew up from something. Um, Issei and Hyuga might have served. One of those may have survived. Fuso and Yamashiro both went down at Surigao Strait. Kirishima was sunk. Hae was sunk. Hae was sunk after the first battle of Guadalcanal. And Kirishima got sunk in the second naval battle of Guadalcanal. The other two, Congo and Haruna, may have survived the war. And Congo, for that matter. Although I always called those battle cruisers. I didn't call them battleships. Japanese ships that survived the war. Let's see. I'm talking about major things. Japanese ships that survived World War II. The Hosho survived the war? Did I mention Takao? No, I hadn't made it to the heavy cruisers. Did Takao survive? Maya's the one I like. Because Maya's like, it has even a bigger conning tower. It almost looks like some kind of like an Aztec temple. Nagato. Nagato survived the battle, retreated to Japan to be refitted for coastal defense. What's that mean? Do you pour cement in it? It also escaped serious damage from an Allied air attack in July of 1945, was the only Japanese battleship to survive the war. Hosho Junyo and Katsuragi. Katsuragi was a late war carrier. Hosho was like pre-war. That's like the Langley for the Americans. Junyo. Junyo. Junyo was a good-looking carrier. I think it looked normal, and then it had the smokestack that was off like 45 degrees off the. Yeah. I just got the Hosho in. What's that called? That stupid game that I play, World of Warships. I was playing it the other day, and I've got the language set up to be in the language of the ship. And my voice like, what did he say? Is that in English? I said, no, that's Nipponese. The Maya looks freaking badass. The Maya looks badass. I don't think it survived the war though. Maya. Heavy cruiser. Yeah, here's a model of her. Really late war, and they took one of the turrets off because you used to have an A, B, and a C. A C faced backwards, so you'd have the three turrets at the front. One faced forward at the main deck level. Then you have the superimposed B turret, and then below that one, but before the conning tower, you would have the C turret that was at the same level as A, but would be facing towards the conning tower. And they took that one out and added more AA. Let's visit this. Yeah, make this picture bigger. Oh. This picture. No, don't switch on me. Okay, I can't make it bigger than that. That looks freaking cool. Her conning tower is even bigger than Otago and Takao. And what was the other one? Chokai. The Atago and Takai and Atago and Takao were closer related than Maya and Chokai. Maya and Chokai came a little later. I call it Maya. It might be Maya. All right. Looks kind of futuristic. It's cool. It's cool. It's definitely cool. Now, I don't know if I'm supposed to wait a long time, but I'm an impatient motherfucker, so we won't be doing that. We're going to get the weathering colors. What time is it? 10? We did these decals first. Let's weather this one first. And I'm not a fan of these super German weapons. I mean, like I said, I got them because that's what my credit worked at Noble Knight on. I'm interested in fair fights, so, I mean, Battle of the Bulge is even too late, and this, a lot of this stuff was even later than that. Okay, this is the U.S. Field Drab. I'm going to work on the tracks first. And do the same thing over here. And the tracks. So the problem with a space battleship is that what if something gets below it? It doesn't have any guns on the bottom, does it? Wonder how the Yamato would have done in an engagement around the time period of Guadalcanal. Not late in the war when a lot of the crews were just like, in really bad, not the best. But even without Yamato and Musashi, a lot of the Japanese battleships pretty freaking cool looking. Now, you don't need Yamato and Musashi to have cool battleships. So in my searchings today on my British project, just to further prove I can pretty much find anything on the internet that I didn't even know that even existed. I came across a document the British tended to name their vehicles based on the letter of their troop. So if it was A troop, all the vehicles were named start with A. Aberdeen, Arbuthnot, Active, different things that were named, A. B would all be B names. Belvedere, whatever kind of names on there. I mentioned those. I mentioned a couple of those because they're names that there's vehicles that are named that. And they could be repeat names. Like there would be, there could be more than one Archer, more than one Ardent. It's not like, oh, there's an Ardent, it's a Churchill. Can't call anything else, There wouldn't be another one named that in that same troop. But anyhow, I came across a document. It was a PDF where somebody had compiled all of the names of British vehicles that were known. And it would say what the unit was, and then what part of it was it. It was like one of it was called, say there was an Archer, and it was an M4A4, and it was part of the 3rd, 7th Hussars, and some even have the tank number on there. I'm like, that is a really valuable document. Now, the unit that I'm doing, I don't necessarily have to have that exact same name, but, they're listed alphabetically, so you can see how often some names come up. Like Archer's a popular name, different names have different popularity. So, I think it'll be handy when I name my British tanks, which are all A company. Coincidentally enough. So, there's a document that somebody went out, and I mean, it's big because it goes from, A all the way to Z. And then, of course, after this, we're going to do the black lining. To make some of these details pop. Now, I'm actually going to do something. Okay. Thanks for stopping by, folks. Thanks for stopping by Hoffman. This has part Rosetta and part olive green in this color. And since Rosetta is lighter, I might actually bring some of this green up. I'm going to try a tiny little area. It's just a little bit like this is good. But then in other places it's just a little too faded. That's too big. Too big, you're out of here. And for that reason, you're out. Now, let me be careful so I don't have to spend time fixing this. I'm just going to kind of go in the center area. Just so it doesn't get lost. Yeah, I'm thinking that looks better. Remember, we're still gonna have to do a dusting of the weathering colors, but I think that looks better. You can do camouflage without an airbrush. It's just a pain to paint areas that are flat by hand. Yeah. We got this, and then we got that. That's a little better. I don't have to go any brighter than that. Just add a little bit more green to it. I think this looks better because I'm adding a little bit more depth to it at all as well. All right, put that away. Let's get back to our dry brushing where we were. We're going to use this US Field Drab. That was a weird feeling. Too much. So at least make it even on the other side too. Like I mentioned earlier, the likeliness that I will be on later other days this week diminishes each day. I've got I will not be at work on Friday, and every day is going to be a little bit more difficult. So I don't know that I'm going to be online any day after today up until the weekend. We'll just see how things play out. But it's not because I don't want to do this. It's, there's just a lot of other stuff that we've got to do as instead. So, and that's without me having to prep for anything. I don't have to prep for any of this stuff in the shows. So, okay. Racky sand over here. I'm not going to bother rinsing this. This should do fine. Oh, and the back's just a wee bit dusty. Tremendously so. So looks pretty plain, but we haven't done the black lining yet. Or the forced black lining shadows. And it is 10:20. I do not think I'm going to start down that road today. But we did get pretty far. They're starting to look a lot better than before. I want to put a custom tank commander there. But he'll do for now. Ah, the lighting sucks here. That's no good. I'm going to take a picture and show the picture. And the hooks, man, the hooks on the roof make a big difference. It didn't have those. It doesn't look half bad. It's going to look even better when... You know what? Fuck it. Let's do some black lining. That's... Let's do it. You guys going to stick around? Let's stick around. Let's do this. Is that what you wanted to hear, or you wanted me to go to bed? I'm not going to get a chance to do much of this week. I'm really not. This week's going to be hell. Let's take this lid off. These are the super readers? Yep, okay. No, looks like I didn't clean this thing properly. Let's get our handy dandy hand sanitizer. Let's clean all that stuff off of it. Off this brush. Whee! Okay. Let's attempt to do something, see if we don't fall asleep. It's going to be up to you guys. Unfortunately, this would look a hell of a lot better if it was a reasonable manufacturer for this model. There's all kinds of little details that this model has. And it's a crappy model. If you don't find a way to get those little details to pop, it's just going to look bland as shit. That's a hell of an improvement. Imagine if it was a good model. It's going to make all these little things pop out so you can see them at a distance. But I don't want to use solid black. I want to use this watered down. This is null that I'm using, but okay, let's do the same thing over here on this side. line down here. See if we can get through and finish this tiger tonight. Or at least this process. We're not going to be able to get to the paint the muffler business, but it was actually a piece that was very difficult to get in there to fit in there flush. That ball mount machine gun. Yeah, look at the difference in the side skirts between one and the other. It just doesn't have the contrast. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it a night. We got pretty far here. Still need a little bit more shadow forcing. Oh yeah, it looks good from 3 feet away. I mean, the details all have to pop on it. All of a sudden, it doesn't look so barren because you've got some stuff here to catch your eye instead of it just being at the side, just looking kind of slab-like. Yeah. So, anyways, folks, thanks for stopping by. We're gonna call this one one for the night, and we'll see you guys on the next one.